Welcome, welcome. We are live once again. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Good to see everybody. We got some folks in the chat already. Welcome, welcome. It's great to be back for another live stream, another Apple Home Talk live stream. We're going to talk all about smart home tech today. We've got some announcements, some cool stuff I want to show you that Apple's doing. And then, of course, we're going to take some questions and stuff as much as we can during the stream. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a cold, rainy week here this week. So, but you know, I'm not complaining. Let me turn this light right here off. Yeah, so we had like 80-degree weather last week. Literally, it was amazing. I got spring fever, and now today's like the high, I think, of 45 and rainy. So, you know, that's the way it goes though in the South. So kind of used to that with the winter time. Let's say hi to some folks as everybody's kind of getting into the chat, get all my screens set up properly. All right, let's see. We got Trent. What's up, Trent and Frederick in the house? Hoping for no technical difficulties today. Yes, I second that. Fingers crossed. But you know, live streams, you never know what you're going to get. So that's part of the fun, I suppose. Let's see, 10 degrees and snowing in Nebraska. Woo! Yeah, that makes me feel like a wimp for complaining about 45-degree weather. We had snow. Turin says we had snow next week, 85 degrees, and this week cold and rainy. Yeah, that sounds kind of like it is around here. Yep. George, what's up? George in the house. Let's see if my chat pop-up is working. It is working, but it's tiny. Let's get that popped up there so you guys can see it. George Langerbeer in the house. Great YouTuber. Go check out George's channel if you haven't. It says -2 and snowstorm here right now. So I'd take cold and rainy. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Let's see. Who else we got in the chat? Keenan, what's up, Keenan? Winter weather advisory in Michigan. We got Michigan in the house. North Carolina, what's up, Remington? Harold, how's it going, Harold? Trey is in the house. What's up, Trey? Brendan, currently 38.5. Feels like around 20. Yeah. Jay Will, looks like I'm not the only one with some cold, nasty weather going on. Raul, what's up, Raul? Says great videos this week. Thank you, Raul. Appreciate that. Glad you're enjoying the videos. New Boot Goofin. I love the name. Here from Fort Worth. Awesome. Thank you for joining. We got Raul from Southern California. What's the weather like there, Raul? I bet you it's pretty nice. It's always nice over there, I think. All right, so yeah, let's just kind of jump right into it today. So today, a couple of smart home products and announcements and stuff, and then we'll get to some fun stuff, and we'll do some Q&A in the last half of the stream for sure. Nikias, what's up, my man? Nikias is in the house, another fellow YouTuber, great Apple content over there. What's going on? Glad to see you in the stream, Nikias. I hope you're doing well over there across the pond. I wonder what the weather's like over there. Terry White, also in the house. What's up, Terry? 45 degrees in Atlanta. All right. So today you may or may not have seen that Aqara released some new smart switches in the US market, US and Canada, which is really awesome. So they had a bunch of these on display at CES, a bunch of different light switches. Not all of them are released, like the cool panel and some of the touchscreen ones are not available yet. But they did release the H2. Yeah, H2 is now available. So let me show you guys that real quick. And I did not test this, and I should have. Bear with me just for a second. Sorry, we'll get this straight. There we go. How's that? All right, so there we go. That's a little better. All right, appreciate y'all bearing with me here as we get things going. So yes, the Aqara light switch H2 is now available in the US. So this comes in in a few different versions. Here you got like a 4-button one, there's a 2-button one, and I think there's a 3-button one. Nope, sorry. There's just a 2 button and then the 4 button. Okay, so the difference here is you have on this one here, I don't know what they call these, the different names. I guess just 2 button, 1 channel. So pretty self-explanatory there. But this here has 1 channel, so one of these buttons can be wired to your actual light, which is indicated right here. On the 2 button 2 channel, you can wire 2 buttons, both buttons, to 2 different loads, 2 different light fixtures or whatever. And so this basically could replace like a double gang switch, you know, if you want to, or if you have something like that. And then you have the light switch H2 over here with 4 buttons and 3 channels. Okay, so this can support up to 3 different light fixtures wired physically to the switch. And then you have an extra button right there that can be used for, you know, automating scenes and stuff like that in your smart home. So really cool to see this. It's been a while since Aqara has released any new light switches or anything. They actually had on display at CES some dimmers also, as well as all those cool touchscreen light switches. So Aqara doesn't right now sell a dimmer, so I'll be excited to see when that is released. But right now, this is the ones that were just released today. So let's see, we got a question here. Craig asks, can you wire 1 button to light and 1 to a bathroom fan? I do not have these. I should say that I have not been testing these, so I don't have any firsthand experience. I would have to look at the load specifications and then just check to make sure it can handle whatever you're wiring it to. So in terms of like a bathroom fan, you probably just want to check the load specifications on that. And I have not done that yet, so that would be all you have to do there. And also kind of on that note, what's really cool too, a lot of cool things about these switches. You know, it's kind of on face value, it doesn't look that exciting, but it's pretty cool what they've done. So first of all, these switches can be used with or without a neutral. So that's usually a big question. You know, if you don't have neutral wires in your house, you know, that leaves a lot of these smart switches, you know, unusable for you, but you can use these without a neutral. If you do have a neutral wire, you do get more functionality. So like with a neutral wire, for example, you can get overload protection, power monitoring, and customize the LED indicator and stuff like that. So some of that stuff you can't do without a neutral wire, but you can still use it for basic functionality. So that's nice. And let's see. Also, the other big thing here with these, let me see if I think there's a diagram somewhere. No. Oh yeah, another thing is that let's see, which one is it? The 2 button 1 channel, this one right here, can be used in 3-way switch scenarios. So if you have like 2 light switches that control a single light fixture, you can use this one in a 3-way, which is nice. And also the big news here is that these switches support Thread and Zigbee, which is awesome. I have not seen that. I mean, we can go on for days about which is better. Everybody has their preference. I hear some people that only want to use Thread, hear it all the time. There's a lot of people that say Zigbee, you know, reigns supreme all the time, no matter what. So, you know, you can have your opinions. And with this, it doesn't matter. You can pick whichever protocol you want to use. Now, I will say when you're connecting this switch over Zigbee, you do get some added functionality that you don't get when you're using like the Matter over Thread functionality. So let's see. So for example, I think one of the things with Zigbee that you can't get with Thread is like the ability to turn off the physical load, if you know what I'm saying. So basically like a smart bulb mode, if you want to use the buttons for automations or scenes, you can actually turn off so that it doesn't actually control the load there, the button, when wired, and you can use those for your smart bulbs and scenes. So that's really cool. Let's see. John Wolf says you can do more with Zigbee. Yeah, so it does have more features with Zigbee. Yes, you can use the Aqara light switches with the Aqara smart bulbs. That's true. And really, I mean, because of that feature, if you're connecting these over Zigbee, like I just mentioned, you can use these light switches with really any smart bulb, which is awesome. And you can just program automations. And I think you do need a neutral wire for that feature too, I believe. So some of that we'll have to double check, but you know, depending on your scenario, just kind of look at the requirements there. But you can basically put it in like essentially a smart bulb mode. I think they call it a wireless switch. So you basically convert that physical switch to a wireless switch, and then you can use, you know, that in your automations to control really any smart bulb. So really, really nice to see that. Brian, I see, is excited about the switches. Yes, Paul McKay, you can use Mars Tech to bind directly a Aqara bulb and the switch. That's right. So that is a feature, and again, that's going to be with with Zigbee only when you're using it over Zigbee. So yeah, they will play really nicely with the new Aqara light bulbs, which let's see if we can pull those up. I didn't have that pulled up. What is it called? The T2 bulb? So that was also announced today. And yes, similarly, these bulbs here support Thread and Zigbee as well. So just like the switches. So really nice to see these lighting solutions come to the US and Canada from Aqara. This is only Aqara's third lighting product, I think, aside from the smart switches, but like actual light bulb of some sort. This is only the third lighting product. We've got the Aqara ceiling light, the Aqara light strip, and now the light bulbs. So really nice to see these. Let's see what you guys think. Do you need an Aqara hub? Good question, Tim asked. So if you're going to connect these over Zigbee, then you will want an Aqara hub. You will need an Aqara hub, I should say. But if you're going to use them with Thread, I don't think you need an Aqara hub. Actually, I'm sure you don't need an Aqara hub. You should be able to. Again, I haven't used these or tested them, but you should be able to pair them directly with any Matter ecosystem over Thread if you want to use the Thread connection. If you want to use Zigbee, you will need an Aqara hub. And I believe out of the box, they will support Thread. And then if you want to use Zigbee, there's an option somewhere in the app, I believe, to switch it over to Zigbee. Yeah, so they're definitely giving you some incentive to kind of keep using Zigbee, it seems like here. But Aqara Zigbee is just rock solid. Always has been for me anyways. So Mr. Jones says, so Innovelli white or Aqara? Both sound similar minus the Zigbee. Yeah, so that's a good question. Let's look up the Innovelli white to show you guys real quick. This one, and I did a video on the Innovelli white. It's a really nice looking switch. Might come down to looks. Now this is really just considering threads. Well, actually Innovelli has the red series, which I think it's the red, which is Zigbee. They have so they have a Zigbee version and a Z-Wave version of these. So really, you know, it's a tough call. I mean, it might come down to the looks. This one has a cool little LED bar. This one is a dimmer, so maybe that would sway you one way or another. I think these are going to be probably more expensive. Let's see what the price of these are. $55, so not terrible. But yeah, we got options now, so that's always a good thing. Lawrence, what's up, Lawrence? Happy Wednesday. Trent says they are the same price. Any experience with Innovelli in a three-way with a dumb switch versus an Innovelli aux switch neutral wire is there as well? That's very specific. I have really just used my Innovelli switch for a single light switch and I basically converted it to smart bulb mode so I can control some smart ceiling lights that are wired, and I want it to be basically always wired. So that kind of like we were talking about with the Aqara with the wireless switch capability, basically just disables the physical control of that switch, and then you just create automation. So it's a smart bulb. That's the only way that I've used the Innovelli switch personally, but there's tons of configurations that you can do with the Innovelli switches. Let's see. See some questions here. All right. So, yeah, we'll get to some questions here in a little bit. Don says the LED on my Innovelli white has been really useful for knowing if my garage is open or closed. Nice. Yeah, that's cool, man. So you can use the little LED on these as a status indicator right there, which is pretty sweet. I just realized, you guys can't see my mouse, can you, when I do that? I thought you could. All right, but yeah, good stuff there. Moving on, I did want to share this really quick. So this is a camera that's been out for a long time. This is probably one of the first HomeKit secure video cameras, I think, is the Eve Cam. So I was told recently that they have updated this so it's on the surface, it looks the same, same product and everything, but they've made some improvements on this. So if you're looking for a smart indoor camera that supports exclusively Apple HomeKit, very secure private camera, which is what I like about these. They've improved a couple things. So motion detection now relies on image processing, and they say therefore now works also through Windows. I don't know who's using this with Windows, but there you go. And clear night vision for a better view in low lighting conditions at up to 5 meters. So that's good. That was probably one of the downsides I thought with this camera, is kind of noticed in time. The night vision wasn't as good as some of the other cameras that I had used just with low light situations. So it's nice that they have improved that. And also it is now powered by USB-C instead of micro USB, which we're a fan of that as well. So yeah, again, this camera's been out for a few years, so it's nice to see just some minor improvements there to make that camera just a little bit more modern and comparable. So I see some questions rolling in. I will say, if you guys have a question, preface your question with the word question like Raul just did there, and I'm going to flag them, and we'll come back to the questions in a little bit, and I'll try to do this as many and answer as many questions as we can. Whoa, Eamon just installed 18 Innovelli white switches in the house. I'd love to know how that's going. How long is it, has it been a while, or did you literally just do it? That's a lot of Innovelli white switches. So that's all using Matter over Thread. So please do tell us how that's working out for you. PalmaKit says USB-C is almost mandatory in Europe for electronic devices. Yeah, and that's interesting because Eve is actually based out of Germany. So nice little update there. All right, now the next thing I wanted to share, that's kind of all I got in terms of like smart home, new products that have come out that I'm aware of right now. But, and Eamon just responded, so let's go to that real quick. Working out well, slowly rolled them up over a couple of weeks, but rock solid so far, and love the customization. Very nice. Cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. Again, that's with the Innovelli white switches, and Eamon just installed 18 of those Matter over Thread switches. Very nice. That might be the biggest installation I know of those switches. It's a lot of light switches. Quite an investment. Very cool. I'm glad that's working out well for you. All right, I'm gonna flag these questions. All right, so I wanted to share with you guys something that I saw that was pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's a couple articles about this, but Apple recently, let me share my screen here. Apple recently released a paper, and this is interesting because Apple likes to keep things kind of behind the curtains a lot of times, but they released this paper talking about basically robotic movements and stuff for products. So let's just read a little bit of this here, and then there's a little video that I want to watch with you guys. We'll watch it together, and I'd love to hear what you guys think of this. And you'll see how this kind of relates to smart home stuff, I think, here in a minute. But they say nonverbal behaviors such as posture, gesture, and gaze are essential for conveying internal states both consciously and unconsciously in human interaction. For robots to interact more naturally with humans, robot movement design should likewise integrate expressive qualities such as intention, attention, and emotions alongside the traditional functional considerations like, completing a task and stuff like that. So that's basically what this paper is about, and this research is being done. And they've done the research, and it seems that people respond better to these expression-driven movements over just function-driven movements. And they got a little video here, so let's watch this. Let me move my head over here. We'll kind of watch this together and see what you guys think. Hopefully this plays okay here. Let me start it at the beginning. I don't know, are you guys hearing that audio too? Let me know if I need to mute that. Larry, oh yeah, thank you, Larry. Larry is one of the ones that sent this to me. So I've seen this, yeah, it's been published in a few different places. So you can see here, the lamp is showing expressive movements, no audio from the video. Okay, that's cool. It's nothing but music anyway, so that's probably a good thing. So to create robotic movements that are functional, completing tasks under user requests are expressive. So this is a nice diagram here. So a typical robotic task would be just to, complete the goal, right? Functional. And they're showing here what it would look like, nice right there, using expressive movements to kind of mimic human interactions, basically. So there's communicate intention, display attention, show attitude, and express emotions. Very interesting. Express emotions. That's wild. We're living in a wild time. So here's some examples where they explored expression and function-driven robot movements in various task scenarios through iterative design and video prototyping. So they've got a really cool comparison here I want to show you. So here you can see the difference between expressive and functional movement. So this is just like a photographer trying to get good lighting, and you can see how they kind of using hand gestures to move the robot around, and look how the expressive one looks. Pixar did this years ago, right? It looks like the Pixar lamp, right? Isn't this wild though? So here's some more. So they use, I'm not gonna use the voice assistant's name, but your Apple voice assistant to speak to the lamp. And here the girl asks, what's the weather out? Or no, this one is, sorry, to reach for something. And you can see it's out of reach, and the lamp looks sad almost. Crazy. I think the next one is the weather one. Yeah, so social conversation. The robot takes the role of a social companion. So she asks, what's the weather? And the robot looks outside and then gives her a response. Please post the link. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely do that. Here is a link to that paper for anyone that wants to check that out afterwards or now. Check it out. So social conversation, you can see the robot looks sad sometimes. The thing reminds her to take water, and this could get weird depending on what kind of robot you have in the house. But the robot interrupts her and kind of, I don't know, not aggressively, but the lamp's kind of pushy and actually pushes the water cup to her to remind her to take the. That's just crazy stuff, I think. Let's see what else is up next. If there's any good examples, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so here we see Project Assistant. The robot observes the user task and provides corresponding tutorial protection to assist the user. That's pretty awesome there. And you can see the way, just the way it moves, it looks like it, you know, it's like lifelike. Pretty wild, pretty wild. Let me know what you guys think about this, and more importantly, how you think this plays out in the smart home. As many of you know, let me pause this video. Oh, that's another one. I got to show you this. The thing's dancing. Okay. So obviously, a functional robot wouldn't dance, but an expressive robot dances along when you're playing music. So could you imagine maybe one day having a home pod with a screen and a robot arm that dances when it plays music? That's crazy. You know, there was, let's see, I'm trying to see if I have any. No, I don't have any mock-ups up here. But there's been a lot of talk about the new Apple home products coming in 2025, including, you know, there's going to be the wall tablet hub type of device. And then they're saying eventually some sort of robotic arms, like a home pod with a robot arm or something like that and a screen. So I kind of envision that lamp essentially with maybe like a screen at the other end instead of a light bulb, and the thing can kind of move around, and the way it just kind of interacts with you could be unlike anything else we've seen. So don't be fooled, everybody. This is like the beginning of Skynet. I know, it's pretty wild. I mean, when you see that robot push the water, that's pretty awesome. But what if the robot thinks you should be doing something else? Or I don't know. Who knows where that could go? Let's see what else you guys say. Dances like my parrot. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't remind you to take a drink of anything that's on the table if you have an alcoholic drink. That seemed to be a lawsuit waiting to happen. Yeah, right. You got your bourbon glass sitting right over there. Or what if the thing knocks it over on your keyboard or your laptop? But just, again, these were just tests, but really cool to see what they're doing there. And, you know, with Apple's big push coming this year into the smart home space and then seeing that kind of stuff, it gets me pretty excited. I don't know if I want any like full-size humanoid robots walking around doing those kinds of things. That might freak me out a little bit, but a table lamp or a display or something on my table, I think I could live with. Pretty cool. A lot of people saying it's the next Terminator. Oh man, gotta love it. See, hopefully they're going to be improving all that this year. And Apple Intelligence coming and all that stuff. Hopefully in the smart home will make things different, maybe better. Larry says, my wife really enjoyed watching the video of you and your wife last weekend. I think she enjoyed it because it wasn't one of those videos I show her that you have to ask her to buy something. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate that. That was a fun video to make. I've been wanting to make that one for a while. Actually, I was planning to initially release that video or make the video and release it at the end of last year. And we just got so busy with life and holidays and CES that we weren't able to find the time. So it was fun to make that. Jeff says, I hope so. It's about time that Apple Home shifts from a hobby for Apple to a full forward product line and commitment from Apple. Yeah, and as being so deep in the Apple Home ecosystem for so many years, It does seem like this is if all these rumors are true, then it does seem like this is the year where that's really going to happen. They're putting a lot of, resources and stuff behind it, it seems like. And even hiring, more people. And yeah, hopefully this is the year. To show my age, I think all of us always dreamed about having Rosie, the maid on the Jetsons. Yeah, what reminded me of the maid on the Jetsons, did you guys see from CES the was SwitchBot K20 Plus? Let's see if I could pull up a video or something of this. Yeah, this reminded me when they had this at CES. It's basically like a docking system where you can make attachments. This is what they had right here on the far right. Oh, my head's in the way. That one right there on the far right, they had that kind of rolling around CES, and it very much reminded me of Rosie from the Jetsons for some reason. It has this like little face on it, it looks like, and you can kind of funny stuff. Yeah, it's modular, you can put like different attachments on it. Again, crazy times we're living in. Oh, nice. Chris says, Rosie's what we named our Dreamy vacuum. Trent says, I want a stand to make the purifier table taller. You could probably buy something. Maybe you could find something out there that would, a little pedestal or something to put it on. Juan says, my wife only used the dashboard on the iPad to use HomeKit or use any automations. Yeah, so in my last video that's being referenced, I sat down with my wife and I got her take on our smart home, which was kind of fun to get a different perspective, because it's always going to be different coming from somebody who's not a techie necessarily, and somebody who's not building all the automations and doing all that stuff. So that was fun. All right, we're going to answer some questions now. So I've got some flagged. If you have a question, you can go ahead and post that if you haven't already. And let's get to it. Let me get to some of these flagged ones. And Lurkdrick says, why women don't like automations? There are some that do. It's not a blanket statement. I do know some women that have some insane automations. And I've got some examples of that coming up pretty soon we're going to talk about. But yeah, my wife does not. My woman does not like automations. Raul asks, are there any HomeKit RF transmitters? I mounted my ceiling fan thinking I could program the remote with the Aqara M3 hub and then realized it's RF and not IR. Yeah, most of those, well, there are some IR, but I think a lot of them are RF. And I don't know of a HomeKit RF transmitter that, one that supports HomeKit natively. If anybody does, let us know in the chat there. But I can't think of any. There's some stuff that you can integrate, like I think the Bond Bridge supports RF. You can get some stuff into HomeKit using like HomeBridge or Home Assistant or Hoobs or something like that. But I don't think there's anything that I can think of that supports RF and HomeKit natively. If anybody knows of one, let us know in the chat. Lurkjerk asks, have you been talking about the new Unify sensors? There's some chat in it in our Discord server about that a little bit recently, but I haven't used them or anything like that. It is something that I would like to maybe look a little bit more into because I've been, really enjoying the Unify networking stuff. But yeah, that's about as far as that goes. Torin says, my wife thought the smart house was meh until she had to do without it for a couple of weeks in between our move when I turned our old house off. Nice. Oh, my light go out. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. The funny thing about that video with my wife is that like I actually learned some stuff that I didn't know. So some stuff that she actually has grown to love that she uses that I didn't even realize she likes or appreciates. And then of course she told us the stuff that she hates. um, but yeah, it's she's definitely learned to love some of the stuff that we have set up too. And there's definitely some things I think she would miss as well. Remington says, is your wife still planning to get the Nanoleaf face mask or is that on the back burner? Yeah, I was hoping to get that. I actually reached out to Nanoleaf about that and I think they sold out really quick. Um, and let me see if it's available. So if you guys seen this, this was probably the strangest, I thought the strangest announcement from CES from a smart home brand. I just didn't see this coming because it's not really smart home. It was just surprised me. So Nanoleaf now has a LED light therapy face mask. I guess it kind of makes sense because they're like experts in the LED space. So they're utilizing that for LED light therapy, which is actually really popular. Um, you know, and my wife was actually right before we saw the Nanoleaf stuff at CES was telling me that she is interested in getting one of these. Before we ever heard that this was a thing from Nanoleaf, she was just telling me she wanted to get an LED therapy mask. But yeah, it looks like it's available for pre-order now. So I think they sold out of them. But yeah, once they're available, I'm gonna try to get one for. Might as well. If we're gonna get her a LED face mask, might as well get one from Nanoleaf. You know what I'm gonna try to do too is I'm gonna try to sync it up with all my other Nanoleaf lights in the room and see if we could do something fun with that. She would probably kill me. Oh, nice, Terry. Your wife got one. Okay, so you got one before they sold out, I guess, right? The face mask. How does she like it? I would love to know. You have to share that with us. Oh, nice. George says Terry's wife has a nice review of the mask. Awesome. I'll check that out. Yeah, my wife Caroline has never used one before, so she wouldn't have anything to compare it to, I don't think necessarily, other than just her research on, red light therapy or LED light therapy. All right, let's see. Mark asks, the Aqara M3 cannot bind with generic Zigbee devices, correct? Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Unless something's changed, but last time I checked, that's correct. It's got to be Aqara Zigbee devices. Adventure Smurf asks, is there a way to tell if something is connected via Matter or Bluetooth? I have a Level Lock Plus. I've been experiencing problems with connectivity. My Apple TV is about 12 feet away. I guess you mean to tell if it's connected via Thread or Bluetooth, is what I assume, or Matter over Thread or Bluetooth. So Matter can actually do both, I think. So I think it would fall back on Bluetooth if Thread is not working. But anyways, yeah, you should be able to. I'm not sure if the Level Lock app gives you the ability to check the connection. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I know you can use apps like the Eve app. You should be able to check your Thread network and see all the devices that are connected to Thread. And I think the Matter over Thread stuff will show up in there now. I think they fixed that. So if anybody knows, let me know. I'm pretty sure you can do that with the Thread network. And a lot of the apps will, when they're using Thread, will tell you the Thread network information. So just look and see if you can find that in the Level Lock app. What's the color of the wall behind you? I get that question a lot, and I used to have the thing right next to me with the number code, but I don't have it. I'll have to check. I know it's called Raven's Wing is the name of the color, and I think it's, what brand is it? Let me see. I'll try to find it. Yeah, Sherwin-Williams Raven's Wing. I think that's it right there. Sorry, my big head's in the way again. I think that's the color right there. Raven's Wing by Sherwin-Williams. Brian says, okay, thank you, Brian. The Eve app will do it. The Thread Network page is still buggy, but the accessory details page shows the details. Okay, very cool. Thank you, Brian. All right, next question. Raul says, is the automations video still gonna happen? Yes, it is. It is. It's gonna happen. As you guys know, I've been collecting automations. In fact, I think I left the details in the description of this video for submitting your automations. So I do this every now and then when we get enough and we showcase your smart home automations. I talk about it fairly often on the live streams here. But oh, I forgot to turn my TV screensaver on today. Maybe that's what went black. Something went dark behind me. But anyway, sorry, that was like a random squirrel moment there. But yes, the video is still happening, and the comment earlier about women in automations earlier made me think of this because I was kind of working on this video a little bit earlier today and planning it out, and like one of the craziest, coolest automations in that video is from a woman, and it's insane. So I can't wait to show you guys that. Raul submitted a automation, which is awesome. I appreciate that. And if anybody else wants to, this is probably the last call. Check the video, the information in the live stream description today, and you can still submit that to me. And if you get that to me soon enough, we can feature your automation in that upcoming video. So that's always a lot of fun, just to see what people are doing across the world. I mean, we got automations submitted from everywhere, which is really cool. Steven, what's up, Steven? How you doing today? Yeah, Brandon. George says, if Eve is listening, we'd really like to see a new outdoor camera this year, please. That's right. Yes, we would. Yes, we would. I like their outdoor camera, though. It's a good camera. The floodlight camera, that's a good one. Still not many native HomeKit secure video cameras for outdoors, though. Aqara is coming soon, though, so that one, we'll have another one here pretty soon, and hopefully some others will follow. Let's see. Edgar, what's up? Edgar says, I'm excited for that video. There's always something I learn from. Yeah, and you'll be in it. Edgar also submitted a nice automation there. Another good smart home, great smart home channel right there, Edgar's Home Tech. You guys go check out his channel for some more smart home goodness over there. Great stuff. And I appreciate you submitting your automation. I actually like that automation a lot that you submitted. So I think I'm going to take some of the tips that you shared, Edgar, and utilize that myself. So can't wait to share that with everybody else. Frederick, thanks, Frederick. Frederick says, hit the like button and show some love. Yes, thank you. I much appreciate that. And show the YouTube algorithm some love, I guess, is what that does. Oh, nice. Palm Kit says, very happy with the Eve outdoor camera. Good to hear. Let's see. All right, we got some more questions. Let me get to these. Adventure Smurf says, I live in an older house. Do you know if there's any way that I could be able to separate the light and the fan functions via a smart home device? Even with Lutron, it doesn't work. So I did a video a while back about making your ceiling fan smart, and I basically talked about all the different scenarios in that video. So you can search through that search for that video and see if anything I talked about in that video helps you. There's just a lot of different scenarios that could be taking place when it comes to your ceiling fan. So, it kind of just depends on your setup, if you have multiple switches or whatever. But if it's a single switch, a fan that controls them both, there's not much you can do, but there are some things you can do, like using a relay or something like that, that you might be able to look at. So check out that video if you haven't already, and that might help. But it really depends on the individual situation, and there's a few different ones that it could be, Emmanuel says, thank you. Sorry, not thank you. I misread that. In your room makeover video, you removed the receiver from the ceiling fan. Are you able to change the speed of the fan after the removal? Yes, you can. If you're using, so in my scenario, in that specific situation, I had 2 light switches that control the ceiling fan and the light individually. So one for the light, one for the fan. So all I did was, so the way it was wired before, like my son who was in that bedroom previously wanted to be able to use the little, RF remote or whatever. So I just let him do his thing, and it was just, but the light switches never really worked well when you have that in there. When you turn off the light, then the light switch doesn't work. It's a pain. So I just removed that RF receiver from the fan canopy, and then wired, basically the light and the fan to the 2 switches. And when you use a Lutron Caseta fan switch, you do get all the fan speed controls with that. So those are awesome. I love the Lutron fan controllers. Chris asked, any word on the FP300 release date? It's probably the only thing I'm excited for at the moment. No, unfortunately, I don't know about the release on that one just yet. Hoping pretty soon, but yeah, I don't know. I know they've got, I think the G5 outdoor camera is probably going to be their next release. I could be wrong though. I mean, I did not even know about this one with the switches and stuff. So, but I think the G5 is the next big release. There are some others that, so this is a presence sensor. I mentioned this before, I think in a live stream, but this is one, it doesn't look near as good as the Aqara one. But this runs on battery, and it's an millimeter wave presence sensor also. This is by Third Reality, and this connects over Zigbee. There's this one, and then there was also, and this isn't available yet. This will be available, I think, in March. I don't know when the FP300 will come out. And then there was another one I saw at CES. There was a few battery-powered presence sensors. I think the other one was by TP-Link, Topo maybe. So we should see some definitely coming out this year, which is definitely exciting because I will probably replace most of my motion sensors that I use with presence sensors. I've already done some of that, and just the ability to use them without having to plug them in will really open up some possibilities on placement that I'm excited about. All right, let me flag some of these questions. I got some more questions coming on. All right. Yeah, and see, I see some more talk about the fans. You could have an actual smart fan. So yeah, that was another scenario. Trey says you did a video on Instagram. Looks like the question got cut off. Sorry, Trey, if you had another part of that question. I missed that. SeaWorld Chris says, what sensors are you currently using? So I don't have a lot of, if you watch my last video with my wife, you'll probably know why. I don't have a lot of motion-based automation set up in my house, but those that I do have, I have a Aqara FP1E that I'm using, which I really like that. It's super responsive. And thanks, Brian. I see that. There's also, I do actually have a everything present sensor that I got when I started dabbling in a Home Assistant, and it's the EP1 Lite, I think it's called, and that's something I'm using through Home Assistant right now, but it's a present sensor as well with a lot of capability. And I do want to set up some more automations with that. I'm not using the FP2 right now from Aqara. I'm thinking about some ways that I can use one of those for zones. So that one's good if you're going to be setting up zones within a room. Again, I don't know. I don't know. That might solve some of my some of my issues with automations, is setting up some zones. So, but those are like, Aqara's probably got the big ones right now for millimeter wave sensors. I don't know. What are you guys using? Do you guys have any good suggestions for millimeter wave sensors that we haven't mentioned? Thank you, Brian. Brian's mentioned that the question from Trey was, you did a video on Instagram a while back. What are your thoughts on the Journey Nova 3-in-1 fast wireless charging station? Okay, thank you, Brian and Trey, for the question. So the Journey, I'll pull that up for those. So I did do a little like short video on this thing a while back, and Trey is asking my thoughts on this 3-in-1 wireless charging station. First of all, I mean, it's gorgeous. It just looks so good. That's what I loved about it at first. And it's $139.99 right now. It has a little pop-up which you can use or not use on the back for your Apple Watch charger. So that's like the 3-in-1. You put your AirPods in the middle. I really love that it has the little night light right there. So I was using it by my bedside for a while. It's a Qi 2 charger. So all in all, I think it's awesome. The only issue that I had is that often when I would use my Apple Watch on there, and I don't know if this is an issue, I read up a little bit on this. Maybe this is an issue on the Apple Watch side and not necessarily this device. I'm not sure. But when I was using the Apple Watch on there, a lot of times it would like connect and then disconnect and connect and disconnect a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that when you're like trying to charge your Apple Watch with one of these like 3-in-1 chargers. But it was doing that, and that was kind of annoying. But other than that, it was awesome. So that was like my only complaint with this. And again, I don't know if that's, the fault of the charger or the Apple Watch, but oh yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I saw that, Victor. Victor said Innovelli is going to be implementing millimeter wave presence sensing into some of their smart light switches. I saw that. I don't know if there's any timeline or anything about that. I think that was like in development a little while ago. That would be awesome. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think TP-Link also showcased something similar to that, having a presence sensor kind of built into the light switch when I was at CES. So yeah, that's awesome. Let's see if I missed any of these questions. I got a few more to get to. Jeff said you're sitting in a room that would be perfect for the FP2. I know, and I did, like, that's when I first got the FP2, I set it up in here for automations, whether I was sitting at my desk. You might have seen the video. And then I had automations for like the couch. I think my couch might have been over there at the time. And just different zones in this studio. And it was awesome. It worked great, but it's very tedious to set up. And the problem is that I changed my studio and like the lights and just different things. Like I said, I think I moved the couch since then, and I just haven't gone through the trouble of reconfiguring it. So, that's the way it goes sometimes. Austin says, did you have a chance to check out that camera mount I sent you? Oh, Austin, yes, thank you, man. I have not installed it or put it up. It's just time. Time is my struggle, but I appreciate that. So Austin makes these like 3D printed. How would you explain it, Austin, if you're still here in the chat? It's basically a mount for your gutter. And I think I might have had some trouble. I remember going out there and looking at it at the place I wanted to install it. I don't think it worked for the camera that I had there because that camera is just so big and kind of awkward. I have the Reolink Duo in that location where I was hoping to use it. But it's basically like a 3D print. Oh, perfect. Thank you. 3D printed downspout mount. So it's kind of for mounting a camera. So you can kind of get around those like gutters and the downspouts and stuff. So really cool solution. Just another, brilliant way people are using 3D printing to solve solutions. So yeah, so you don't have to drill into your house. Also, yeah. And for me, I think it would help if I could find, if it would work there, is to see like that downspout kind of blocks some of the view from that camera. So that's another thing that it could probably solve too. William says, I'm adding a wall-mounted iPad to my smart home. Do you have any recommendations on iPads? And do you still think this designer, Viz Designer probably is a great starting point for a dashboard? I think you meant Viz Designer in that comment. Okay, so to answer this, I would go, so when I did end up purchasing eventually a new iPad for my wall-mounted iPad a while ago. So what I would do, and what I did at the time, is I bought the least expensive, newest base model iPad. So I'm not sure what that is now, but you don't need anything fancy in terms of like processing power or anything like that. If you're just using your iPad as a wall-mounted dashboard, you're literally just displaying an app and pushing some buttons on it pretty much. So you don't need like super high processing, or you don't need a pro model or anything like that. So I would get the newest model, the cheapest, newest model that you can find in an iPad in whatever screen size you want. And that way, and I say the newest instead of getting like an older refurbished one or something, because just getting the newest one is just going to give you that much more, lifespan on it, because, it does need to be running the latest iPad OS so that you can, so it'll work well with HomeKit and everything. So that's why I say that if you're buying new, that would be my recommendation. Of course, you can buy, an older one or refurbished one, but the lifespan on it working well with HomeKit and being able to update the software won't last as long on something like that. So that's my recommendation for getting a new iPad for your wall-mounted iPad. John asks, what are you doing about overcharging the battery? I'm not doing anything about it. I'm going to be honest with you. So I bought that iPad specifically for that use case. I never remove it from the wall. It's always there. I guess the battery could, have problems eventually, but iPads have smart charging. It's not supposed to be an issue. It's safe to do. So it really shouldn't mess up the battery. But if it does, honestly, as long as it still works when it's plugged in, I'm fine. So that's just me personally. I do know a lot of people who connect these to smart plugs, and you can set automations to turn on and off the smart plug to charge your iPad and to turn off the charging for your wall-mounted iPad. That's another route, or you can use a smart outlet. So there's a lot of other things you can do, and you can even create automations around that, which is kind of cool when the iPad charges and turns off charging and stuff like that. So a lot you can do there if that's something you're concerned with, but I haven't done anything about it. I just leave mine plugged in, and it's been fine. It's been like that for at least a couple years now. Do you think a new Apple TV will come out in 2025? That's what the rumors are saying. But, I don't know. My guess is as good as anybody's when it comes to that. But yeah, if these rumors are true, it would make sense if they're getting more into Apple Home stuff. John S. Is Tapple still going to be able to ship here? As far as I know, so I know there were some issues there with the TP-Link. I think that was specifically with their routers. So I don't know. I'm not honestly, to be honest with you, I'm not completely up to speed with like where all that is going. I know there were some issues regarding, I guess it was like some kind of spyware or something, or it was some security risk they found within the routers for TP-Link. But I have not read up on the latest in terms of that. I would imagine they'll figure out a way to make it work because TP-Link's a pretty big company. They have a lot of smart home stuff. Larry asked, did Aqara give any indication on how much the FP300 will cost when it's released? No, they did not. So usually they don't tell you what the prices of stuff is going to be like way before it's released, like at CES. So I don't recall hearing anything regarding the price. But you know, hey Frederick, what's going on? Finally got to see you live. Thanks for coming in and joining the live stream, Frederick. Glad you could make it here. It's towards the end of the stream. Let's see who else we got. Oh, you guys are getting deep into the automation stuff here, huh? Emmanuel says, can you please explain how you made the automation with the Aqara M3 hub speaking out loud for your gate being open? Yeah, so this was in a video somewhere. One of my videos, I did this. And I'm trying to remember which video it was. And I really can't, I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. I don't think it was the M3 video that I did, but probably one of my automation videos. And I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly, but it's really simple to do if you're using Aqara or if you're using Aqara sensors to trigger the automation. So I have Aqara sensors on my outdoor gates. I just weatherproofed them and put them out there on my gates. And it's all done within the Aqara app. So it's just a simple automation. When the door opens, when the contact sensor is opened, it triggers a custom ringtone on the Aqara M3 hub. So the Aqara M3 hub and a lot of the Aqara hubs and cameras have the ability to play different ringtones that are built in, and you can also upload your own custom ones. So all I did was created a custom audio file that says the right gate is open, the left gate is open. It's just a little MP3 audio file, and then you can upload that in the Aqara app, and you can use that as a custom ringtone for your automation. So that was really it. It's all done right there in the Aqara app. Super easy to do. Once you have the audio file, probably the trickiest part is just creating the audio file for that. But yeah, it works great, and that was actually one of the automations that my wife loves. So there are some, they do exist, but yeah, so we're always working on that. With that said, guys, it's been fun hanging out and talking about smart home stuff with you this week. I will say, I think just between us, I think next week I'm going to be able to do a giveaway on the channels or during the live stream. So tune in for that. Don't tell nobody. Make your chances better to win. But no, I think we're going to do a giveaway next week. And yeah, we'll definitely be back here. Hopefully we have some more smart home news to talk about. I definitely have a few videos coming out I think you're going to be interested in. We are finally going to get that viewer automation video published pretty soon. So I'm working on that, as well as some other things that are coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, as always, for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and God bless.